Alright guys. Hey guys, just bringing you another video, Form 1 suppressor design video. Something a little more basic, a little more run-of-the-mill, so to speak. Made a Form 1 suppressor for my 45 Glock 21 and also my H&K UMP 45. And yeah, let's jump right into it, man. So I went to SD Tactical Arms for the 7.8 inch barrel shroud is how they have it labeled. It's nothing more than that until you get your stamp and are ready to move forward. At that point, obviously, it is your tube that's going to house the internals. And it is titanium. I opted to pay I think it's $8 extra to have it a high temp black coat of paint applied to it. It's really nice. My suppressor cover has, I guess, kind of wore onto it a little bit, so it looks like it has some scales. The end cap also was from SD Tactical. Got a little bit ugly on me though, because it got a little bit too hot as I drilled it, but it's probably the only drawback to their end caps is that they're so freaking thick, but they're made to be able to actually thread as a mount, so that kind of explains it. So not the best job on that. I'll have to repaint it, but it works, it's there. On the back side, running a SD Tactical booster, which will house the necessary, I'm losing my mind today, the adapter to be able to, the right thread pitch for whether you're wanting to run it on like a 45, which typically is like I think 5.78 by 25. Could be wrong on that as well, but or like my UMP is a 16 by 1 left hand, so I had to have them actually custom make the insert for it on the inside. This is actually a really nice piece too. If you're looking for a booster to go onto one of your pistols, if you have a pistol like a Glock or any pistol that has a Browning tilting type action, barrel action, you'll need one of these. I know Liberty makes a good one too, but I just figure since I'm sourcing pretty much everything from SD, I might as well try theirs out too. But anyway, works great. Cycles phenomenally on the Glock, and with the actual fixed portion inside for the UMP, it works great. It's gonna send you like the little lockout for a 1911 or a UMP or something that doesn't need this spring inside of it. Let's jump to the inside. So see if I can actually get it all out in one piece for you without stressing it too bad here. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to pull it all out, which is normal because a lot of this stuff doesn't want to come out the first time. But I'll get to why I do what I do in particular with the cone sizing here in just a minute. Alright, so kind of walk this backwards here. You can kind of see how it's all coming out together. Put this spacer here, this one here. This one may be just easier to pull out the back. There we go. And one more here. That's it. All right, so got all the internals here, and I'll kind of show you how I got to where I got. So, and this is by no means scientific, strictly based off of my experience and what I think works best. So typically with a supersonic round, you want to use I'm sorry, yeah, with subsonic rounds, I should say, or 9 mil, something that's flying a little bit slower, you'll want to use radials. They just, for whatever reason, they seem to work better. I honestly had cones on hand. I had some extra parts, so I just went ahead and these first few that you'll see, these first 4 are actually going to be 60-degree cones that I think still work out great. I don't think you'll be able to audibly hear the difference, but anyway, what I've been doing lately on a couple of my cans is actually starting out the first cone with kind of and I'll hold this up so you can see it, kind of like a one that's bored out maybe a little bit bigger than what you're actually going to do on that or whatever round you're trying to send through there. Plus I added just some weep holes and kind of alternated up and down. I mean, nothing scientific once again. And actually what that's going to help you with is a lot of back pressure. So you're not going to get a lot of that gas back in your face if you know, kind of run this on an AR setup or, you know, anything that's traditionally has gas blowing back on you pretty bad. So, and I'd also like to think that, you know, it'll kind of break up that initial kind of boom, that initial expansion there in that first chamber, and maybe go through these holes, kind of break it up. And really that's all a suppressor is you're trying to slow the gas down, you're trying to break it down, send it all different directions rather than have it just go straight out the end, which is why you have the sound that you have. So started with what I'm going to tell you is I believe a 1-inch spacer here. I'll have to double check all my sizes if you guys want specific answers, but pretty sure it's a 1-inch spacer that I went with there, that this one sits right into, and that's coming right off the booster when it's in the can, just like that. And on the way down you'll see the rest here. Went with what I believe is a 0.75 after that. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit smaller here in spacer size after these first couple. A 60-degree cone. Now you can see I've kind of just done like a halfway clip. And if you guys don't know what clipping is, do a little research on that. That's where you'll actually make these slices and these cuts on the sides that will also help break up those gases, kind of like what I'm talking about. I will tell you on these first few cones, I went one size up from 1/2 inch. So just on these first 2, the rest of what you're looking at in the can is going to be 1/2 inch. Bit is what I use to drill it out, so actually pretty tight. And then also here on the end cap, it's also 1/2 inch. I have a pretty good eye, so I felt confident with it. I've made a few cans. I know kind of what you can get away with as far as the sizing goes. So I just went with a 1/2, which I feel is sufficient, and it's going to give you pretty good sound quality. Another 0.75 leading into that 60-degree cone with that kind of single clip I told you about. In the future, I'm going to do the double hybrid clip. I'm going to finish the tops of these, but honestly, it's pretty time consuming, so I just kind of work with what I got. Plus I like to shoot it, and you can always clip it down the road. This particular spacer is actually the same, so I spaced the first ones out the same. I did another 60-degree cone, and that's where the 60s will stop. Okay. This will lead you into what I believe is actually a half inch spacer. Okay. And it's going to be 1/2 inch spacers pretty much the rest of the way through towards the end. And I actually went with Totality Industries for all these internals. Anthony's a solid guy over there, man. If you have any questions, feel free to message him or give him a buzz, but they've got everything you need. This is actually a radial that was double hybrid clipped, pretty poorly I should add. Dremel, file, did it real quick, so not the greatest outcome, but I'll tell you it works. So radial there, another 1/2 inch, radial there, double hybrid clip as well, 1/2 inch, and there, yeah, here's the radials I kind of ran out of time and patience for. They just have kind of a single clip there on the sides. Another spacer, another 1/2 inch, or another radial. Now here at the end, you'll notice the spacer got smaller. I believe that's like a 0.375 that Totality also offers. which leads into these last couple, which are aluminum. So pretty much on all my cans, I'll tell you the first couple cones or radials that you use, they need to be stainless steel or at very minimum titanium, just for longevity's sake. Plus, you know, if you're doing anything like rapid fire or multi-fire that's really heating the can up, you're going to want that. The last few in the can, the heat's pretty much going to disperse by the time it gets here, and you're not going to have that big blast like you do in the first few. You can get away with running aluminum, save you some weight, even save you some money, you know, over the cost. So I have not actually clipped these at all towards the end, which almost is okay, because you're kind of, in theory, you're kind of tightening down your exit, you know, towards the end, and a lot of the times. So the less openings, the less passages the air has to move through, the better. So two aluminums right there at the end. Now this is something that I see some people do. For me, these are very, 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 very handy. This is actually a Comp Cam's valve spring retainer. Now there's actually another reason why I have this, and actually used it on this one. This particular one is the same size as everything else here, diameter wise, which, if I haven't specified yet, these are all 1.347 inch cones and spacers and radials. And the reason I use 1.347 is they fit in the can very well, and it makes it very easy to come out. You see, I didn't really have to fight them, and I've probably put several hundred rounds through this can already without really cleaning it very much. So this little guy here towards the end, a lot of people will use what they call VSRs, or valve spring retainers. This one's actually fits my APC9 SD. It's actually a better design than what I actually used on my APC9 SD can as a barrel guide that basically went over the barrel to keep it stabilized for the rest of the can. I don't know if you've watched that video, but you should. This one actually, right here at the end, kind of takes up a little bit of space that, say, this .25 spacer is too big for. So you can kind of see the difference in thickness there. And it chokes down, you know, your exit there, slowing down some of your gases before they come out. So I actually put that VSR right at the end, a little .25 spacer, and I've got the absolute perfect fit inside of a 7.8 inch SD tactical arms titanium tube. So I'll kind of throw it all back together, show it to you here. If I can get it all on the way down here. Trying to do it without it all collapsing. There we go. I'll actually put the end cap in here now. Alright, there we go. Turn this over. Push this all down inside the can here. Then I can actually put that kind of weep-hole blast baffle that I like to use, that is stainless steel. Push it all the way down in, fit the initial blast chamber spacer. You can kind of see it kind of takes the brunt of it there. Fits right down in there. Take my booster setup with the actual, which I can't get the actual ring off that goes in the can. But anyway, put it in there and turn it in there for you. Good flush fit. Not a single ounce of play in there. Completely perfect. I can see all the way through it. Nice and clear. Don't know if you can see that. But now we can take it. We can spin it. Right there. You can cycle it. Perfect. that's it, guys. That's the 45 can. Not too difficult there. I know some beginner guys are kind of looking for just kind of the idea on how it all works, so figured I'd post some. Hit these guys up right here for your internal needs. Hit these guys up for anything custom or tube or Endcap or booster related. And man, save yourself a wait on a 4x4. Thanks, guys.
Later.